It's now doing it. You're now live on YouTube.
Thank you. Good evening. Warm welcome to the Rushcliffe Borough Council's March Cabinet meeting. I'd like to remind everyone that the Cabinet meeting has been live streamed on YouTube. It is being live streamed on YouTube.
Yes, it is.
The meeting will be available afterwards on the Council's YouTube channel. In addition, the local authorities, executive arrangements, meetings and access to information, England Regulations 2012. Other people may film, record, tweet or blog from this meeting. The use of such images or sound recordings is not under the Council's control. I'd like to welcome Councillor Walker to the meeting, Councillor Mallender, and any member of the public that's joining us on YouTube this evening. I'd like to be the first item on the agenda. Apologies for absence, please.
We have apologies for absence from Councillor Envy.
Thank you. Wish him well with his current COVID test. Declaration of interest? None. Okay. Minutes of the meeting on the 8th of February. Proposal to accept those minutes, please. Councillor Moore, seconder. Councillor English. All those in favour? Carried unanimously. Okay. Do we have any citizens' questions?
We have no citizens' questions this evening.
Okay, so if I could ask Councillor Walker, please, to step up and ask your question. Okay.
Thank you. I'm going to do my best here. On housing stock, increase in social housing as a private rental market.
Councillor Brennan.
Thank you. We don't consider that this would adequately address the issues you raise, nor that it would be financially viable. We're already delivering significant numbers of affordable homes across the borough, and we anticipate the delivery of a further 750 affordable housing units over the next 5 years. Between 2016 and 21, the Borough Council delivered more affordable and social housing units than any other council in Nottinghamshire. We have a very successful track record of partnership working with our registered social providers, and we use the council's capital budget to deliver a balance of 10 years to meet local housing need. There would be significant financial risks associated with bringing housing back into council ownership, not least having to significantly borrow to fund any acquisitions and future housing development, and recruiting the necessary in-house expertise to manage that housing stock. The availability of land would also be a challenge. We will continue to focus on supporting good quality private sector housing, coupled with financial incentives to assist individuals and families on low incomes to gain access to accommodation, and by doing so alleviate the pressure on the demand for social rental housing. We will also work collaboratively with partners to secure government funding to support the provision of additional supported housing for vulnerable groups, such as rough sleepers and survivors of domestic abuse, which will also improve wider health and wellbeing outcomes.
Thank you, Councillor Brennan. Do you have a question? Councillor Walker.
Yeah. Yes, thank you. So I think the issue for us is the financial viability of purchasing housing stock under any arrangement that's likely to be available to us, and the fact that we've just declared and made clear that we don't want to take on any additional borrowing, and that would be necessary under any scheme in order for us to purchase the capital housing. If there's something about the county deals that I'm not aware of that would enable that calculation to be made differently, I will ask for that information to be provided to you in writing. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Councillor Walker. Councillor Brennan. Move on to the next item on there, and that's the revenue capital budget monitoring 21-22 quarter 3. Councillor Moore.
Thank you. This report covers the financial position up to the 31st of December 2021. Based on the previous cabinet report I gave in December. Fortunately, the current budget was set, or cleverly, the current budget was set, anticipating the adverse impact of COVID and a combination of budget efficiencies business rates and government funding have helped mitigate the financial impact of COVID income losses. The position still remains volatile. The effects of power station rates reviews, charity reliefs, and reduction in business rate pool still affecting us. The bottom line is that we currently have an outturned surplus of £54,000, which, considering what we have been through, is very satisfactory. Regarding the capital programme, we currently have an underspend of 5.155 million, which was once again is due to slight delays and rephrasing of work schedules. Table 1 shows the main items affecting the current budget. There's nothing really significant, but I'll pick out a couple. Obviously, extra costs for waste collection, for extra staff, and for enforcement. But some very good savings on planning fees and pleasingly savings at Edwalton Golf Club. I note the items on the capital receipts, the timing of which means that any borrowing can be met from internal resources. There are important notes on the implications of bringing Streetwise in-house and of our decision to replenish the climate change reserve by 200,000 back to its 1 million figure last year. All capital schemes now will be assessed for carbon reduction elements, and this fund will be used accordingly. This is a good third quarter report. I will now read and propose the recommendations. It's recommended that the expected revenue budget efficiency of the year of 54,000, inclusive of committed reserves. The planned use of reserves totaling 4.14 million as detailed on Appendix A. The capital underspend of 5.1 million and the expected outturn position for special expenses of 1,700 deficit. Happy to propose those, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Thank you. A seconder, Councillor Brown.
Thank you, Chairman. I'm very happy to second this budget monitoring report and the recommendations set out at paragraph 2. The report presents a very positive position and one that recognises also a number of ongoing risks in the wider operating environment that we need to be mindful of in respect to the impacts on our budget. We know how quickly things can change and how quickly they can impact on our assumptions. Just as we anticipated an improvement in circumstances following COVID, we see what is happening to energy prices as a result of the current instability in Europe. I'm very pleased to see that the budget efficiencies have enabled us to have a robust buffer for such eventualities, and that we continue to be able to support and invest in key initiatives for the borough, such as the Bingham Leisure Centre, the crematorium, and to look at new opportunities such as the Tour of Britain. So I'm very happy to second the recommendations in paper. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any comments? Take that proposal forward. Then proposed by Councillor Moore, seconded by Councillor Brennan. All those in favour? Thank you very much. Next item, we have the housing delivery plan 22-27. Councillor Brennan.
Thank you, Chairman. Again, very pleased to bring our housing delivery plan 22-27 to Cabinet for your approval. The plan sets out 3 high-level priorities associated actions to deliver them and clear targets. The priorities are set out in paragraph 1.3 and summarised at 4.4, and these are affordable and sustainable housing, working to increase the supply of housing, both new and existing. Housing quality and environmental sustainability, focusing on the condition and sustainability of existing and future stock, including action to improve housing conditions, particularly for those living in insecure housing tenures. And homelessness and support, homelessness which we looked at just recently, working to address all forms of homelessness and our work to support specific groups such as those with disabilities, the elderly and others. Whilst it's no longer mandatory for us to produce such a plan, it does support the Council's statutory duties, and it clearly links to our corporate priorities such as the carbon management plan and the South Notts homelessness strategy. It's also, I hope you'll agree, a clear and concise plan with measurable targets which are set out in section 5.4 of the document and in appendix 2. And it gives an excellent overview of the housing situation in the borough and our plans to address the issues it brings up. I actually think it's a really good and accessible read, and I'd like to commend the officers involved in putting it together. I would like to move that Cabinet approves the plan and the recommendation I set out in paragraph 2.
Have a seconder, Councillor English.
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, housing is an important subject that affects us all. It's important for residents that we have an ongoing strategy which can be clearly monitored in the priority areas. There's the affordable and sustainable housing that goes without saying that Rushcliffe already has a good reputation in this area, and they are striving to increase their standards beyond national requirements. Housing quality and environmental sustainability is becoming very important, especially with the steep rise and future uncertainty of energy provision costs. Homelessness, that's a serious matter, with far-reaching social and wellbeing consequences. So it's pleasing that we have a strong, what is a vital support system in place to put anyone facing these circumstances. So yes, I'm very happy to second recommendations to approve the housing delivery plan 2022 to 2027, and the action plan is Annex 1 and 2, and to endorse and recognise all the excellent partnership workings that's been done today.
Thank you very much. Yeah, absolutely. There's a lot of pressure on our housing, particularly with these housing prices at the moment and across the country. In Rushcliffe, but also, as you say, that the focus has got to be on the green agenda. So long as we've been doing housing, we're just still not really appropriate in the long generation. Developers and manufacturers got to catch up with technologists. I'm sure we're delivering it. Okay, any other comments?
Well, if you could just add that excellent timing, really, in fact that the one.
Oh, yeah, microphone on.
I'm sorry. That the development that we're actually pushing at the moment, which is Abbey Road, is highly insulated, very energy economical wise, and that's good that we're going down that direction. As Councillor English says, energy costs are becoming a nightmare, and it's very important that that part of the strategy is covered. I was pleased to see.
Okay, so those recommendations put forward by Councillor Brown, seconded by Councillor English. All those in favour? Thank you very much. Move on. Follow up on the PSBO crop control. Councillor English.
Thanks, Chair. Well, this report to Cabinet is to endorse the proposed full disclosure protection order and take it forward to full council for its approval. The order has been developed following full consultations, generating overwhelming support on complaints and concerns regarding dog control found in the borough, thus went through the scrutiny group. It runs alongside legislation that is already in place, but it empowers officers to be able to enforce, especially in new and adopted land on our new housing estates, and spaces where the public has access, and that's whether on payment or otherwise. It's appreciated that most dog owners and dog walkers act responsibly. Just a few that are the root of this antisocial problem. We've all seen the dog bag fruit trees, but treading, or even worse, a child falling into dog feces is not a great experience. And attacks by dogs on people, children, and other dogs can sadly occur. If this order prevents just one, then to me it's fully justified. The order defines a standard of conduct with aim at increasing people's safety and well-being. The purpose of this PSPO is not to be a proactive task, but to provide a tool to address complaints and intelligence to specific locations as informed by the report. Stress that the 4E's approach will be the methodology. First to engage, then to educate, then to encourage before any enforcement becomes necessary. Although it has widespread support across the borough, Tottenham Parish Council wish to state their wish to have their open space spot to be excluded. I do fail to see why they're not engaging in the safety-based initiative, but the communication continues for any option decisions that may require the full council should their stance remain. I do feel this is a necessary and proportional order. So I'm totally supportive and so endorse this order, the Rushcliffe Borough Council Public Space Protection Order, Dog Control 2022, and I recommend committed to full council for set out in Appendix 1. Thank you.
Second, Councillor Moore.
Well, this is a subject that comes up at virtually every parish meeting, every village meeting that I've ever been to in my council career, and it's really good to see that this subject is now being taken very seriously. It's an important report for the general public, but it's also an important report for the responsible dog owners, because it should help to deal with the irresponsible ones. I like the 4E approach, and I agree with Councillor England that this is a necessary and proportionate order. I'm very happy to say.
Any other comments at all? Councillor Brennan?
Thank you. Yeah, so I'm just really pleased to see this. And it never ceases to amaze me how people can be still irresponsible about allowing their dogs to foul on public land when we know the health risks associated, we know how antisocial it is, and we know how just awful it is if you should find yourself with your child or your pushchair or your bike going through dog feces. It's absolutely awful. And as a responsible dog owner, it absolutely infuriates me. So I'm very pleased that Wise are undertaking this because I know that they will have the approach of trying to inform and engage, and they will be proportionate in their response. But it is welcome, I think, that we do have some teeth with which to tackle those few, and it is only a few, but those few that aren't responsible in terms of looking after picking up their dogs. So I'm very happy to support.
I think one thing we need to be mindful of in the big new estate is to make sure we get dog bins out there, particularly growing so quickly. The complaints we do have that we're quite slow in getting dog bins out. People hide behind that, couldn't see. So you've done the rubbish like that. So it is something that we need to address. I think, get them out quickly. Okay, so presented by Councillor English, second by Councillor Moore. All those in favour of the recommendations? Sorry, so that concludes our